I would like to welcome our student representative from the Seattle World School. And I'll do my best with the name, Khalil Boudrissa. Nice. Mr. Boudrissa will have an opportunity to provide comments regarding his school later in the meeting. Ms. Ramirez, the roll call, please.
Director Burke.
Here.
Director DeWolf.
Present.
Director Geary.
Here.
Director Mack.
Here.
Director Patu.
Here.
Director Pinkham.
Present.
If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will now turn it over to Superintendent Nyland for tonight's recognition.
Thank you. We're going to have the great opportunity tonight to recognize the Seattle Council PTSA. I have the opportunity to meet with them sometimes monthly, and they've also been a great partner for us in terms of coordinated meetings this year and last with regard to budget and a whole host of other issues as they come up. So very much appreciate the work that Seattle Council PTSA does to support and engage our schools and our students. So with that, I'd like to introduce James Bush, Director of School, Family, and Community Partnerships, and he'll introduce Sabrina Burr, Seattle Council PTSA, and then after that we'll invite the board down to take a picture and give a certificate to the Seattle Council PTSA.
Thank you and good afternoon. So I'll do a brief introduction and pass the mic to Sabrina. Since 1972, the Seattle Council PTA has supported, empowered, and engaged Seattle schools, families, and communities in advocating on behalf of their children. Seattle Council offers trainings to parents, after-school enrichment programs for youth, and numerous other school supports. Seattle Council is a key partner as SPS engages in student-centered transformational work across the district with support of their local PTAs and boards. Their equity work supports SPS's efforts to eliminate opportunity gaps and ensure opportunities for greatness for all of our students. Please join me in welcoming Seattle Council President Sabrina Burr to the podium and the other PTA parents here in our presence. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, James. I appreciate it. If all of the members of PTA, PTSA, so parents, students, teachers, all of you, if you can come up. This award belongs to all of us. It is the Seattle Council Board who meets with the superintendent and his cabinet members and key district leaders. But the work is done in our buildings, in our communities, and through our children's. So this is a small representation of what PTA is. On this day, especially 50 years to the day of the death of Martin Luther King, I think it's befitting for the equity work that this district has championed and the equity work that happens in our buildings, through our teachers, through our parents, but most importantly through our amazing students who are being the voice of tomorrow. What people do not realize is since 1908, Seattle Council, well actually the National Mothers of Congress has been working a lot across color lines, working with Selena Sloan Butler, the founder of the National Council of Colored Parents and Teachers. And in 1970, after Brown versus the Board of Education, the two organizations merged. So I want you to know, and today I want to honor those who we stand on the shoulders of for the National Council of Colored Parents and Teachers. I was just in Washington, D.C. for a national legislative convention, and it was befitting that the room that we held our reception in is the very same room that 2,000 people stood strong in America for children. It was very befitting. That very same room is where we had our reception under President Roosevelt. So I am very honored to work with Seattle Public Schools and this important work. I'm very honored for us to be elevating our family engagement, but most importantly, I would like to thank Dr. Nyland because I worked both on the strategic plan and the equity toolkit. This is the first time in more than a decade I have seen my work come to action. So I want to thank him. I want to thank all of you. I want to especially thank Dr. Brent Jones in the Equity Department and for what's going on in family engagement through James Bush and what the amazing work will do. So that's what I want to say for that. And so we honor the diversity of this district, and we work to elevate those voices that we need to hear from, and that's a partnership. That's all of us working together to make sure we shift from people in positions to kids in classrooms, because with this group of children that we are educating, our future is very bright, and we need to do what we need to do to give them the tools and resources, not just to survive, but to soar in life. So thank you.
Thank you for all you do. So we'll invite the board down, and we'll invite all of the our PTA friends up forward to take a picture.
So before you come down, keep coming down. In addition to this, we have 2 certificates that we would like to present as well. And that is for Dr. Nyland. So in addition, we will come down. We have 2 certificates. Dr. Nyland came out to Van Assel to Mother's Night Out, and we didn't have the certificate ready, and I think that was a universe aligning. So we do have a certificate for you from Mother's Night Out. I'll let Hodan give that to you. And additionally, for our partnership and especially for our work around family engagement and equity, we have another certificate for you. We have a beautiful portfolio for you to put that in. We also have a document of the Somali Mother's Night Out, but one of the things that we worked together in was Formula for Success. I think you were sitting at the table along with James Bush when the name came, so I thought it would be befitting to have in your memory book as well. So we have this, and then we have a small gift that has to do with a lot of these things for you as well.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Ready? Big smile. 2, 3. Couple more. Thank you.
That's okay. We can adapt.
There's Leslie. Well, do we have a student performance? Otherwise, I was going to do comments, I guess.
So we have a student presentation scheduled, but we don't have it all coordinated yet, I don't believe. Or do we? So we're going to go to superintendent comments and allow the students a little bit more time to collect their...
Are they here?
Yeah, we'll go to superintendent comments.
All right. Celebrations. This is School Librarian Recognition Day, April 4th. And actually, we have quite a few of our librarians on the schedule to testify later today. Appreciate the work that they do each and every day. And as I put in my comments out to staff today, given my passion for reading, and I don't know, I must have 5 or 6 library cards. I very much appreciate the work that our librarians do to make sure that we have great collections. They've really worked hard to make sure that we have more diversity represented in our collections to represent the students in our schools and kind of give that excitement for lifelong learning to all of our students. So thank you to our librarians. And all that without much money, yes. National School Volunteer Week is coming up next week or the week after, April 16th through 20th. And again, wow, I don't know that we have a full way to keep track of all of the hours that our volunteers put in, but starting with PTSA and moving to all of the many roles that our volunteers play, we're so appreciative of that. As Sabrina mentioned, today does mark the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. And 5 decades later, Dr. King's influence continues to resonate. As many of you know, he gave an eloquent speech the day before he died. And I have a few quotes here in my report. Let us rise up tonight with a greater readiness. Let us stand with a greater determination, and let us move on to make America what it ought to be, to make America a better nation. He goes on to say, like anybody, I'd like to live a long life. Longevity has its place, but I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will, and He's allowed me to go to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So definitely not as eloquent as Dr. Martin Luther King, but eloquent words, and unfortunately made even more poignant through his tragic assassination. So good reminders always of the work that we do and why it's so important. As I always do, I give an update on some of the aspects of our strategic plan. Our strategic plan has 3 major areas: Goal 1, excellence and equity; Goal 2, effective systems; and Goal 3, engagement. Under Goal 1, we've continued to work on eliminating opportunity gaps and ensuring opportunities for greatness for our students. We did receive notice recently from the City of Seattle through the Family and Education Levy that they would be funding 5 of our high school programs through their innovation program next year. That's been part of their work to continue to ramp up high school work, so we very much appreciate that support. At the last board meeting, the board talked about preschool and asked us to look further into, I think it was 3 of the 7 new sites, which staff did do, and looked at the number of students that would be impacted. It was a relatively small number of students that would be required to transfer from one school to another. And we have been in communication with SEA to put together a planning leadership, program leadership team to try to work through the details and make the transition as smooth as we can. And we also have another interim report from the International Schools Dual Language Immersion Task Force and some of their recommendations as we move forward. Goal 2 is improved systems. The board held a work session on the budget last week, and we are appreciative of the fact that we have, we really need to find a clever way to say this. The legislature did come through with their bump in funding to, in their view, satisfy McCleary. We don't think that they're quite there yet, but for one moment in time, we will have adequate resources for our budget going forward into 2018-19, and then we go back into the slow hemorrhaging part of the process where we get less funding than we need to maintain our programs each year. So more work to be done in terms of sustaining, getting sustainable funding from the state. City of Seattle is getting ready to announce the family and education and preschool levies for November of next year, and then the board also held a work session last week around our capital and operations levies that will go forward in February. Seattle Public Schools capital and operations levies that will be on the ballot in February of 2019. So there's a series of community meetings being held with the goal of board decision sometime June, summer, no later than early fall, to give the election campaign time to plan, prepare, and get the word out to the voters. And then goal 3 is our engagement goal. There was a launch luncheon that was held recently with regard to supporting programs in 10 of our locations across the district, and appreciate that work. South Lake High School is busy working on a home visits project, which is part of the Engaging Families in High School Success, which we heard about from Addie Simmons a few board meetings ago. And SHA is also working on the family visits project. And Andrew Lofton from SHA and Dr. Brent Jones from our staff held a webinar this last a week or so ago. We had 900 people from around the nation looking at the partnership that we have that's pretty unique in Seattle between the school district and the Seattle Housing Authority with regard to improved attendance. And we've seen notable success with that partnership. So in fact, tomorrow night, there's many things going on, and one of those, hopefully I can get to, is a SHA recognition of students who have excelled in terms of attendance over the last several portion of the school year. Good news around the district. Lots and lots of students at Hamilton Performance, and seeing the connections between identity safety and the Hamilton play. And I guess all of our 46 of our teachers who had projects, I guess 38 teachers who had 46 projects in Donors Choose, along with everybody else around the country, were fully funded by Ripple, and so that resulted in almost $44,000 in donations for projects that our teachers had put up. Unified Physical Education has a featured video from the SBS Media Operations, and continuing to work on a more inclusive environment. Congresswoman Jay Paul recognized Concord Elementary in a floor speech with regard to their Arts Impact Project. And we had a delegation from Singapore visiting teachers at McDonald International Elementary School and Nathan Hale High School. And finally, one of our former school board members, Harriam Martin Morris, was recently appointed by Governor Inslee to serve on the State Board of Education. So we wish him congratulations, and nice to have a Seattle voice on the State Board of Education. That concludes my comments for tonight.
Thank you. Is our student performance ready to go? Outstanding. I would ask that the board members come down front so we can watch and enjoy like everyone else.
There you go. Okay.
Okay, so we did Little Shop of Horrors for our winter musical. It was a lot of fun. I played the plant.
I was Seymour.
So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. So this is Get It from Little Shop of Horrors. All right. Feed me.
Does it have to be human?
Feed me.
Does it have to be mine?
Feed me, Seymour. Feed me all night long. That's right, boy. You can do it. Feed me, Seymour. Feed me all night long. 'Cause if you feed me, Seymour, I can grow up big and strong.
You eat blood, Audrey, too. Let's face it. How do I feed you? Kill people?
I'll make it worth your while.
What?
You think this is all a coincidence, baby? The son's success around here? Your adoption papers.
You're a plant, an inanimate object.
Does this look an ad to you, punk? If I can talk and if I can move, who's to say I can't do anything I want?
Like what?
Like deliver, pal. Like get everything your secret, greasy heart desires. How'd you like a Cadillac car or a guest shed on Jack Parr? How about a day with Hedy Lamarr? You're gonna get it. How'd you like to be a big wheel, dining out for every meal? I'm the plan who can make it all real, so go get it. I'm your genie, I'm your friend, I'm your willing slave. Just take a chance, feed me. You know the kind of eats, the kind of red hot sweets, the kind of licky sticky treats I crave. Come on, Seymour, don't be a putz. Trust me, your life will surely rival King Tut's. Show a little initiative and work up those guts and you'll get it.
I don't know. I don't know. I have so many strong reservations. Should I go and perform mutilations?
You didn't have nothing till you met me. Come on, kid. What will it be? Money? Girls? One particular girl? How about the Audrey? Think it over. There must be someone you could 86 real quiet like and get me lunch. How'd you like a room at the Ritz, wrapped in velvet, covered in glitz? A little nookie gonna clear up your zits and you'll get it.
She had like a Harley machine, tooling around like Atlas James Dean, making all the guys in the corner turn gray.
So you'll get it. If you wanna be profound, you really gotta justify. Take a breath and look around. A lot of folks deserve to die.
Wait a minute. That's not a very nice thing to say.
But it's true, isn't it?
No, I don't know anyone who deserves to get chopped up and fed to a hungry plant.
Oh, sure you do. That dentist friend of yours, he's been beating up on Audrey. Would you like to get your revenge? If you want a rationale, it isn't very hard to see. Stop and think it over, pal. The guy sure looks like plant food to me. The guy sure looks like plant food to me. The guy sure looks like plant food to me.
He's so nasty, treating her rough.
Smacking her around, oh, he's talking so tough.
You need blood, and he's got more than enough.
I need blood, he's got more than enough. I need blood, he's got more than enough. So go get it. Okay, thank you.
So can you introduce yourselves?
Oh, yes.
Tell us how long you've been practicing, tell us who's been coaching you, and tell us where you're going next, if you would, please.
All right. My name's My name's Leona. We've actually we haven't practiced in about 3 months until this week, but we were working on it for about 3 months. And the lovely Miss Pritchard, who has left us recently, she was our director, and a lot of what she did was amazing, and she was an amazing teacher.
My name is Yosa. I have been with the Standard School for 4 years now, and I've been with the drama program for 3 years. I am choosing colleges right now between Columbia, NYU, and Sarah Lawrence.
And for me, I think I'm going to stick to community college right now, and that's the best option for me. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys want to stick around? Do we do a picture here or not? Kids? Guess you don't get a picture. Okay. Lucky you.
I'm sorry.
Without question, the best part of our meetings is seeing our students rise to the challenge and perform. And my fantasy again, every day, every child, music, and our math scores will be off the charts. We can have short board committee reports. Who would like to start? Director Mack, Director Pinkham.
Good evening. So Operations Committee has been super busy. Last meeting we had, a month ago, we had 14 items come through Operations Committee. And we had a work session last week on BEX 5 on March 28th, which was really 3.5 hours of good information around our enrollment and capacity issues, our building condition, and the process going forward. We had great conversation around the guiding principles that the board needs to adopt, and those will be discussed again tomorrow at our Operations Committee meeting, and hopefully we'll be passing those at the next board meeting on April 25th. The agenda for ops is posted, and if you're interested in operations related things, it's pretty exciting. We've got a report on policy 3130 student assignment, the financial report, committee work plan, and that's all happening tomorrow here at 4:30.
Director Pinkham.
With Audit and Finance, we actually haven't met since the last meeting. We won't meet again until after spring break, but one thing that's definitely coming up on our calendar is our 3-year annual lease and rental review, and it'll be the first time for me as well as first time for Jolynn since she's joined us. So that's what's on our radar for now, as well as making sure we are looking ahead as far as when those levies is going to be reduced and the impact that'll have on our budget and our families and our schools here. So I will have more after our next Audit and Finance meeting to report. So that's it for now.
And that meeting is open to the public in the boardroom, and that's on April 16th at 4:30. The next Operations Committee meeting is tomorrow, 4:30, in the boardroom. Director Burke, C&I, please.
Curriculum Instruction Policy Committee has also been busy. I think everyone in this building has been busy, and thanks for that. Looking backward, we had a meeting March 13th. A lot of the topics that we covered there, you're seeing either for intro or for action. One of the topics that was covered there that's not to the full board was we started doing work on the highly capable and advanced learning programs, trying to weave together some of the great feedback we've heard from the community, trying to understand what's the definition of the services we have, and trying to chart a path forward. Staff has been working on that both as a work plan and are looking to start up a task force to help carry that, building on the work of previous task forces, research and evaluation team. So there's a lot of pieces to knit together there. It's pretty complicated and fairly charged as a topic, for all the reasons that education can be fairly charged. It's a passionate topic. We all want our kids to have the highest level of academic challenge and rigor and social emotional support and all of the things that we wish for every child. And I think that's sort of the nexus of it in that conversation. So I hope people will continue to engage in that. It's going to be easily a full year, potentially an 18-month process. So you'll hear more about it. But I'd say it's kicking off in earnest now. And so I invite directors to contact me about it. Also, the public can contact me. This is being run primarily, the team that Wyeth Jesse has put together around this is going to be doing a great job. So I'm excited. Looking forward to April 17th meeting for this month. We have a few items. The Career and Technical Education Annual Plan, this is under Policy 2170. This is essentially charting our course for CTE and career-connected learning, essentially for the next year, building on the previous plan that you might recall from Dan Gallagher before he moved on to a different district. But some really great stuff there. I've seen a draft, but I think it's improved even further from there. Really exciting pieces. And School Board Policy 2090, Program Evaluation and Assessment, which has also come before the board, but this is at the policy level. How are we weaving together program reviews, program summaries, program evaluations, data at the policy level? This is Eric Anderson and his team doing that work. We have 3 standing agenda items. One is the Formula for Success, which we used to have on the wall. We should have the Formula for Success on the wall. Note, we should have Formula for Success on the wall.
It should be really big.
There's a 24 credit update and high school work, and then a standing update on instructional materials as far as what adoptions are underway or plan to be underway for the year. The final point I'll bring up at that meeting, we have a special attention item where we're getting an update on the annual approval of schools, or the CSIP process. And as directors recall, this has been a governance item of importance, which essentially is intended to be like the strategic plan for schools, where this is a living document that guides the work that they do in the schools and helps them identify their priorities for funding and focus. And we're trying as a district to keep important elements front and center in those CSIPs and provide the schools autonomy to put the important work they need to do in it, and then we have to be responsive to those needs. So we'll be looking forward to hearing what Mike Starosky has to say around that.
Director Geary, please.
So I just wanted to share that Director Mack and I will be meeting tomorrow. The Washington State School Directors Association is in the process of putting together their legislative agenda for next year's legislative session. And so the process will be, now they're calling for anybody to put in new agenda items, so we will be working on that. Then just to give everybody an idea of how that works, in the fall, all the school directors get together, the legislative representatives from all the different school districts get together and review the legislative agenda and vote on which items to elevate to the highest level. And then in the early part of the year, when session is back in, all the school directors, the legislative representatives go to Olympia and present that agenda as a unified statewide organization. And so while, given that we have so many rural districts, we don't always get the urban needs elevated to the top, more and more around funding, you see that there's a lot of commonality in terms of how public education is being funded, it's a great opportunity for Seattle to learn about the needs statewide and to join in and bring our sophistication around urban issues as other districts grow, unite together, and present it to our legislators. So if anybody would like to provide us any input on that or talk to either Director Mack and I, we'd welcome the input. Thanks.
And Director Mack.
Thank you for coming back to me, because I had forgotten to mention, and I'm not sure if it got mentioned in Dr. Nyland's comments either, about the community meetings that are happening around Bex right now. There's going to be a couple sets of them, so there's some now and then some in the fall. 2 of them happened already on Monday and Tuesday. I got to go to the one at Madison, and it was great to hear from community members what their priorities were, what they were thinking. Staff gives a great presentation about the challenges that we're facing around building conditions and capacity issues and how things are being prioritized. So I would encourage, if you have the time, the next ones, there's 3 more of them around the city. On April 23rd, we'll be at Seattle World School, and at 6:30 to 8:15. They're all at 6:30 to 8:15 in the evening. Tuesday, April 24th, Jane Addams Middle School, and April 26th at Salmon Bay K-8. So I would encourage you to attend those. I would also, if you are interested in and have any thoughts around the levies, you're more than welcome to write to us at Capital Levy 2019 at seattleschools.org, or you can always write school board at seattleschools.org.
Or if you want it to go just to the directors, it goes to SPS directors at seattleschoolboard.org, school board at seattleschools.org, goes to all senior staff plus the directors. Okay. Executive committee, we are still working on back mapping some of our big initiatives with Superintendent Nyland, Deputy Superintendent Nielsen, and other subject matter expertise folks come in depending on the topic. Blending, braiding, coordinating, collaborating is our watchword. Setting goals, because if we don't have a goal and a deadline, we're never going to get there. And it's good, tough work. I believe the next executive committee meeting is at 3 o'clock on April 17th. And again, that meeting is open to the public. Executive committee meetings work on setting agendas, moving policy issues forward, and serves as a sounding board for updating in our strategic goals and our SMART goals. Again, you're all welcome. I think the transparency's pretty darn good on all of these committee meetings, and there's a lot to be learned. What you see here at the legislative meetings are just the tip of the iceberg for all the hard work that goes into this. Next up is you. Could you introduce yourself, your school, your thoughts, and your plans? Please do, and please bring it up close to your mouth, and you can take it out of the stand. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Khalil. I have been in Seattle World School for 5 years, since like 2013, around this time. I guess my school is focused on teaching second language students who don't know English to know English. And when I first came, I didn't know any English, and so far, look at me. I'm speaking in the board. Yeah, I came from Dubai. I came with my father. I was around 13, and yeah, thank you for having me.
And your plans?
Oh, my plan is to graduate this year and go straight to Central.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Any questions for me?
How many of your fellow students are doing as well as you are?
I know a lot of students. There are like around 30 students graduating with me this year. Before that, there were not a lot, but I can see the potential that our school could grow. I could name some: Cielo, Gustavo, Salvador, Hamza. They're not really here, but one of my friends is coming soon, so yeah.
Director DeWolf, you had a comment or two.
Thank you, Khalil, so much for being with us today. I just had a question. What are there any issues or concerns that are coming up from you, from the student body, that this is a unique opportunity to be speaking with the board directly? Is there anything that you feel like needs to be raised or elevated for us to be mindful of or paying attention to?
No, I think our school is, yes, it has some flaws, but it's proving. Every year it's improving. So I don't think it's really having any trouble with teaching students, yeah.
Okay, you are welcome to stay as long as you wish this evening. And when we take director comments, questions, and concerns for various policy issues, either action or intro, we invite you to speak up. You don't get to vote, but we would very much like to hear a student's perspective. Thank you very much. We have now reached the consent portion of tonight's agenda. May I have a motion for the consent agenda, please?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
I second the motion.
Approval of the consent agenda has been moved and seconded. Do directors have any items they would like to remove from the consent agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor of the consent agenda, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have reached the point of board comments. Who would like to go first? Director DeWolf, and then Director Pinkham. I'm sorry, you slapped me.
Director. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Director Harris. I first actually want to just express some gratitude. This last month, we've, I don't know if you know this, but your Seattle School Board, particularly if they have a full-time job, have been relentless and here, I would say, almost every day, working on the superintendent search process. So I just wanted to use a portion of my comment today to extend a special bit of gratitude and thanks to our staff, Nate, Aaron, and Michelle, for all of your hard work, long nights, and dedication to ensuring that I did say Aaron, that this process is thorough, comprehensive, meaningful, ethical. So thank you for all of your tireless support in that work this last month. I'm not going to talk too much on it because I know we have more of that coming up later. The second thing I wanted to elevate is the fact that April is National Sexual Assault Awareness Month. As a victim of sexual assault, this month holds special and personal meaning. I look forward to working more deeply on this issue in Seattle Public Schools because it is up to us to take the initiative to eliminate sexual harassment and assault, first by acknowledging that these problems persist and exist, and then by tackling curriculum, policy, and the very fabric of school culture and community. And I want to make a special highlight of the incredible students and staff at Nova High School for hosting a consent day on March 22nd and making sure that we're elevating this conversation. The next thing I want to do is just also, again, give special thanks to our librarians. Today is your day, but I have a special place in my heart for librarians. As a queer kid in elementary school, that was a place I could find solace and safety, so I share special thanks for our librarians. Yes, seriously. I also just want to affirm, yes, I also just want to affirm something. In the last couple of months, the NAACP Youth Coalition have been really vocal and persistent in making sure that we are including their voice in our work, and I just want to say special thank you to them. Many of their questions were embedded within a superintendent search process, so when it came to making sure that student voice was included, they were there, so I thank the NAACP Youth Coalition for being a part of that process in the way that they were. On Monday, April 23rd, as Director Mack mentioned, the Seattle World School will be hosting one of the BECS, or the Levy Conversations. I'll be there. Hopefully you can come out to that. It's on April 23rd at Seattle World School. I'm hosting my first community meeting next Monday, April 9th at 5 p.m. at the Riveter at Capitol Hill. And I'm actually finalizing details for my second event, my second community meeting in the Chinatown International District. Kind of was just working on some logistics with interpreters, so that will be forthcoming, and I'll have some details probably online, if not before our next regularly scheduled board meeting. That's all I have today, and looking forward to our great discussion and culmination of some long, long weeks and days of hard work. Thanks.
Thank you. Who would, Director Pinkham? Who's going after Director Pinkham? Director Burke? Director Geary?
Tatslahe, good afternoon. Want to thank all the students that were here, Khalil, and our two presentations of Little House of, what is it? Little Shop of Horrors. I just watched it on Netflix the other day too, so I'm more the dentist fan. I like Steve Martin when he was in that one. So, but thank you. I appreciate your performance and appreciate your input. And looks like he's always still here. So if they can, Khalil, if you stick around and share your views and perspectives, it would very much be appreciated. I want to thank Sabrina Burr and the rest of the Seattle Council PTSA for coming here, and we couldn't do our work without you as well. I raise my hands to you, Katsalia. Thank you for all the work that you do, and ditto on all our staff around the room here with the search that we're going through right now. Appreciate all the effort that you've done for it and the support you have shown for this process. I also want to announce that the Clear Sky will have its 5th annual student conference, Good Medicine Conference, April 13th and 14th at Robert Eaglestaff Middle School from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And I apologize last time because I pronounced her name wrong, but Matika Wilbur and Slick Watts will be two of their presenters. And it includes other presentations from Northwest Indian College, come down just to do some cultural activities, ropes course, building leadership and trust between participants. It is targeted for middle school through high school students. Seattle Public School students and students associated with the Clear Sky Native Youth Council are free. Other students are asked to pay a $50 registration fee. If you want more information, just send me an email at scott.pinkham@seattleschools.org, and I'll try to get that to you. Also, the UW's 47th Annual Spring Powwow is this April 7th and 8th. That's this Saturday and Sunday at Hecked Pavilion. Grand entry times on Saturday at 1 p.m. and 7 p.m., and grand entry on Sunday at 1 p.m. So please attend and see some of our Native culture and songs and dance and regalia there. And it's not just for Native students, it's for everyone here in Seattle area to come and enjoy and have some fun. My actually next district community meeting, I do have a tentative date waiting for confirmation from the library. It's set for Saturday, April 28th from 12:30 to 2 o'clock at Northgate Library. As far as May and June, my schedules are pretty solid May through June. I'm finding it hard to find a date and time for community meetings in May and June, but I will keep you posted if I'm able to find something to put in for those months. Then I believe that's all I have for now, and wait for public testimony and add more later. Katsiaya. Thank you.
Director Burke.
Good afternoon, everyone. So some of this has already been mentioned, but I want to touch a couple of them again. Khalil, great having you. 5 years, that's amazing. I'm in awe as somebody who tried for 3 years to learn a foreign language and have forgotten all of it except for un peu, which is, that's all I know in French. And Superintendent Nyland mentioned it. I want to not let it go by, honoring the work and life of Martin Luther King Jr. I think his vision has shaped the perspectives and the outlooks of 4 generations of students. And when we talk about students in school generations, that's 13 years. So that's about 4 generations of students. Because our students become adults, our adults become leaders, and they're the ones that are going to shape the world. So that's why we're doing this work, and I think that's absolutely amazing. A word of thanks and gratitude to Sabrina Burr and Seattle Council PTSA and the team. You're a passionate, inspirational leader, but the impact of the work that everybody does around PTA, PTSA, is felt daily in our schools. So I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart. And when I was a PTA co-president, it was probably enough of a kick in the tush that I ended up here. So I warn you all and challenge you all to try to take it to the next level. It's really fun. I had the pleasure also of joining a whole lot of kids and adults in the March for Our Lives, which was, I'm not much of a marching person, and it kind of made me feel like a young kid again, and inspired to, I don't know, to go out and make some trouble in a really, really good way. It's such an amazing event organized by our youth, for our youth, but in a way that impacts our entire society. I had another meeting last month where I was invited to the Robert Eagle Staff Middle School by the staff. And this is a point that I think has been brought up a couple times already, that we recognize that that's a school that's impacted in terms of space. Our board and previous boards have made decisions to co-locate schools, the Robert Eagle Staff Middle School and the Licton Springs K-8, in the same building. And both of them are wonderful programs, and we have a challenge making both of them fit and operate effectively and serving all students. And so I had met with the Licton Springs community earlier, I believe the beginning of March, and this was hearing some from the Robert Eagle staff community to try to understand where are the places where we can find solutions that meet as many folks' needs as possible. So this is a work in process, and I think the community understands that it's been coming for a while. We were notified around that when we were doing boundary work, and I think it's pretty clear that we have to have a structural solution in place for fall of 2019 that provides solutions for both of those communities. I had a community meeting last month. 2 topics were covered there. One of them was exactly what I mentioned, the Robert Eagle Staff Middle School capacity, and the other was revisiting the science alignment. There's still folks in the community that are trying to understand, or the sort of the theory of action or the why behind the work we're doing in realigning high school and how that relates to actual courses, instructional materials, teacher training, student experience. And so I think there are still some good questions out there that we have to get to the bottom of, and I know staff is working on that. I do not have another community meeting booked, but I will get something lined up in the next week or two, scheduled, but it will probably be later in April or early May. The other meeting that I want to put on everybody's radar is April 23rd, 6:30 to 8:30. This is a Lincoln High School community meeting, and I'm hoping to attend that, but I have some work travel that's right around that time. Depending on where I can book flights, I may or may not be able to attend that meeting. That's all. Thanks.
Director Geary.
Hello, hello, and thank you everybody for coming out tonight. Yes, as you know, we have been engaged in the superintendent search, and it has been exhausting, and we've spent a lot of time together. And I will say that I'm so proud to be part of a board that has worked such long hours together, and I think well and respectfully. And so thank you to all of you. Thank you, Khalil, and our students from the Center School for showing up today, and all of the students that are here. We hope to see more and more of you, as Director DeWolf mentioned, and so we are going to be going out into the schools and trying to find out the pathways to get you all more involved. And so speak out, talk to your principals, let them know that you want to do that, and we'll continue to try and connect the dots for all of the different students so that you guys can organize. And one of the pleasures that we had in going through this interview process is to get exposed to lots of different ideas, and one that came up both in the history of Seattle Public Schools and that we've learned about happening in other places are student advisory committees of some type. And that's something that we definitely need to resurrect here in Seattle, so that students can talk to each other and bring your concerns to us, because I think what we will find is that a lot of times we have the parents come and testify, and I think the students could inform their parents' testimony as well in terms of what will actually work for you, because we are facing reinventing high school in many ways, and I think your voices are the voices that we need to hear in terms of what you think is going to work and how it's going to look. I think you see images on TV and in movies of some 1950s ideal of high school that just doesn't feel very relevant to you. And so we need to hear your voices, because we're trying to figure it out for the decades to come. And you are our best source of information. I was joined by Councilmember Rob Johnson, or excuse me, I joined Councilmember Rob Johnson and Mayor Durkin at Sandpoint Elementary since our last meeting, where Sandpoint Elementary was demonstrating to our city leaders the benefits of the Family and Ed Levy money that that school has been receiving. And so it is a time that we reach out to our city and we tell them how much we appreciate the support that they've given our schools as they're trying to figure out how to divide resources between our universal preschool program, our elementary schools, our middle schools, and then off to the 13th and 14th guaranteed year. And so I think it's a continuum that we don't want any of our kids falling through the cracks at any point. It's all such important work, and it all needs to be supported, and we need to make sure that we're being very fluid in that. So thank you to the city for coming out and talking to Sandpoint and giving them a chance to show you how much they appreciate your support. Libraries, yay, yay, there they are. You know, again, I think we children of single working parents somehow end up really understanding and appreciating from our childhood how important libraries are. They're safe, they're magical, they're cool and air conditioned. There's a lot of great things about libraries and those people that always have a suggestion for a new book for you. And I've had recent opportunity just to appreciate how hard your job is, because while there's so much work around equity, you are dealing with libraries that were put together decades ago, and you have to navigate for your students what some of the messaging in those books are, as you try to make sure that they are equitable, that you have the resources not to ban or censor, but to highlight and teach and make sure that they are well stocked and have everybody represented with fair stories. And so we need to support you more. There's just no doubt about it. The dangers that can happen for a child to be exposed inadvertently to something that, you know, I don't even remember maybe reading something from my childhood, and I don't even remember something that could potentially be devastating to a child today, given what we know and what we're trying to do. So, yes, we need to continue to be really sensitive and support you in your work. Yes, you are equity warriors. Thank you. PTSA, wow, you're going to play a huge role. As you know, we have engaged in the superintendent search, and I know that we have seen incredibly strong candidates, and their success is going to depend on you and all of us. But you're the ones who are going to go into our schools, because what we heard over and over and over is that equity is at the foundation of this. And I think we all know that our schools are at different places around that work. And we need to make sure that we're bringing all of our schools and parents along in equity work, so that as our superintendent, whoever it may be, they have all said they want to hit the ground running in terms of equity work, and that's the person that we were looking for. And we need to make sure that our parent groups and our parents are out there to support that work as well. And I know from the group of people that I see in front of me that that is where your heart is, and I know it is so important to you. And so thank you. Your role is going to be immensely important in moving us forward on this work. And thank you for recognizing Dr. Nyland in that work as well, because it's in our hearts, and it is so important that we elevate that all the time. Thank you. Special Olympics is coming, and we're working here in Seattle Public Schools to try and figure out a good way for our families to access all the different volunteer and participation opportunities. I just want to say over and over again, I had the pleasure to talk to Dwayne Chappelle today around preschool, and we just need to make sure that our preschool families know, and our early learner families know, that from July 2nd and 3rd, there will be activities at the Seattle Center for families with children with developmental disabilities. It's not only going to have fun things for the kids to do and participate in, but there's going to be a real push around networking and resourcing for those families. And I think it's really important that we let our families know that they are more than welcome. They must come, and they must have a great time and get connected and find support in their community. And we at Seattle Public Schools are going to continue to figure out ways to make that process as easy as possible. Enjoyed March of Our Lives. There's just so much going on around this work. It's really great. And then Tuesday, I still am holding my coffees at Zoka almost every Tuesday. I probably won't do it next week because we're on break, and but check my Facebook. I may wake up and decide that I need to get out of the house. And it's so fun because just different people, we get together. Webb Hutchins came today. He's a Civics for All champion, and so he came and once again told me, why aren't we holding elections for all of our kids so that they can participate in that process? Democracy, or civics, is the cornerstone of democracy, and I couldn't agree more. And as you know, we just got to keep at it. Lately, Steven Sulzbacher, who is a retired children's neuropsychologist, has regularly been attending my meetings, and I couldn't be more honored to have such a wonderful person come and listen and still continue to care so much about Seattle's schools and want to participate in and learn about what we're doing. So you never know who's going to show up at my meetings. You can learn a lot, and I welcome everybody so Tuesday mornings, 8 to 9:30 at Zoka. Check Facebook to see. I post both on my web page, my school board page, and my regular page to let people know I'll be there. Thanks.
Director Patu.
I want to say thank you to Sabrina Burr and the team who represented PTSA and all the positive work that continue on happening in our schools. It is your caring and influence that brought many positive within our schools. We as a school are very fortunate to have you in our schools, because I know many times when things are not working out, PTSA and their influence always make things go better, because without you, I think we'll be pretty lost. So thank you for all the hard work that you continue on to do and your presence in our school. Thank you to Khalil for your presence. It is always a breath of fresh air to have our students up here to be able to be part of our team. And it's also a good training for young people to actually who knows, to be on the next board, when the time comes. So it's good training. Congratulations to our librarian, because you are very much needed in order for us and our children to know our books and what kind of books is it that we need to read and continue to influence out, because reading is good for the soul, they say. And thank you for all the hard work that you do. Also, thank you to our students who actually performed. That was a great performance. And I believe that if we continue to have one of those at each one of our board meetings, it actually helps our meeting go a little faster. And also, it's great to see the various talent that we have in Seattle Public Schools. I mean, Seattle Public School has the most amazing talents of every students that we have. And I think it'd be great to always feature our students here at our board meeting so we can see all the talented students that we have, and which we are very proud of. Thank you very much for coming tonight. I know without you, we wouldn't be up here. We're here because we want to do the best that we can for your children. And we lead upon you to tell us whether we're doing right or whether we're doing wrong. But we want to be able to be the best that we can be so we can provide all your children the best education that we can. And I want to thank all my colleagues, because I know that we do a lot of hard work. You know, every one of us are always thinking of ways of how we can make things better for all our students here in Seattle Public Schools. So thank you for being here tonight. Have a great evening.
Director Mack.
I'm not feeling particularly eloquent tonight. I think my fellow directors covered everything really well. Actually, I'm a little bit verklempt with Seattle Council getting the award, of course, because I'm so proud and amazed and grateful for the work that you do, and keep engaging. So thank you. I want to echo everything else about the staff support around the superintendent search and the amount of work that's gone into coordinating and organizing, and just really grateful to that. In particular, had the opportunity to tour with one of the candidates and go around some school buildings, and it was a great day. Queen Anne welcomed with open arms. The students toured us around. It was just amazing to see everything in action. Cleveland, wow, wow, what's going on in that building, the amazing learning, it's impressive. And Aki as well, though I have to admit that I am concerned about the condition of their building. And for me, buildings matter. Our educational environment, where we are, matters a lot. So I'm super excited about the Bex Levy coming up, and I hope everyone will get on board and be supportive of it as well. I had my community meeting on the 31st, and I had only three people that showed up, but they brought some really good topics. Some questions around special ed. Of course, the superintendent search was a topic, our Bex Levy and planning for downtown school, et cetera. And the other topic that has been top of mind for a lot of us is increased safety and security in our buildings. As you all know, we passed a resolution around safety, focused a lot on gun safety, and but one of the issues that that has kind of risen to the fore and came to my community meeting that I think we might want to consider is a lot of our buildings don't actually have locking doors and windows. And students, you know, the coming and going of people in the buildings is a little too free. So that's something that was brought to my community meeting, and it's, you know, a little bit more top of mind for me as well. My next community meeting will be May 12th from 1 to 3 at the Magnolia Library. I plan to also attend the April 23rd Lincoln High School meeting. and was super grateful to join with my fellow board directors in the March for Our Lives. That was a powerful time together. So thank you very much for being here tonight. Thank you for your engagement. As always, you can email us and reach out.